Welcome to Deep Thought. Dreams are important. And when I'm talking about dreams, I'm not talking about like a vision that you have for the future, though those are very important as well. But that's another conversation. I'm talking about the actual dreams you have when you close your eyes and you get into a deep enough sleep. And, they are very important because we know when we dream, it can be all sorts of craziness in there. It could be an entertaining dream. Shoot, it could be a sexual dream. It could be a dream that doesn't make any sense to you at all, just a bunch of images. It could be a dream where someone who's passed away is speaking with you. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but they are very important. And because I'm not going to get in too deep into the metaphysical side of the spiritual side of it. And only because of, people's different spiritual beliefs. I always want to respect people's specific beliefs on here. So I'm going to get into it more from just the technical aspect, which no one can deny, right? See, understand something. What are dreams? What are dreams? Ultimately, they are communications. They are communications from your subconscious, or it's stuff that you're not dealing with consciously that might come out in your dreams. Because understand something, human beings, even though like some people would argue, it's like we use 100% of our brain. Well, yeah, on a technical thing, but our consciousness, what we conscious of typically might represent 5 to 10%. We're conscious of what's going on among us, with us. Because understand something. We see everything. When you go out, even though you're focused on maybe driving or walking to where you have to go, going into a store, getting what you have to get, dealing with the person right in front of you, your subconscious is picking up everything. So your conscious is 5 to 10% of what you're picking up. Like you're aware of it. You look over there, you see that nice car. You're driving to work, you see that accident. You're walking down the street, you see, if you're a man, you see that fine woman with the big breasts and butt dunk. Or if you're a woman, you see that tall guy with their big old arms and chest, right? You're conscious of that. But your subconscious is picking up everything else. Because, okay, let me give you an example. When people are walking and when they're looking at stuff, they see what they focused on. But then there might be a lot of stuff in the background that you don't see. And to explain that concept, think about something. You ever drive past something or walk past something? It could be a particular building. It could be a sign that's up, advertisement. And it's always been there. But you don't think about it. You don't pay attention to it. Okay, here's a way to understand it. Okay, say you got a place, you renting a place or something. Or even own a house. Right? And, well, it's better when you're renting. You focus more on this when you're renting someplace. You're renting someplace, but the landlord is getting on your nerves. You need to leave, or you don't like the neighborhood or something. All of a sudden, you walking out, you driving around, and all of a sudden you see all these for rent signs, or even some for sale signs or opening signs. All of a sudden, you start seeing them. You're like, how come I didn't see all this before? You weren't paying attention. You didn't need to focus on it. That wasn't what your mind was on at the time, right? So that's your conscious. But your subconscious already saw all of that. Or, like I use the example of a mate. When people are looking for a mate, they're looking for something very specific. But then they ignore everything else around them. They might see, a guy looking for a woman built a certain way, he'll see maybe 3 women that day, right? Because that's what he's focused on, a woman built a certain way. But then but his subconscious picked up on the other 30 that were around that they were still in his line of sight, but he didn't focus on them. Or the women especially good for this. Same scenario. They're looking for that guy with the big, tall guy with the big chest and big arms and everything, flat stomach. And they might spot one a day, but, the subconscious picked up on about 50 men who didn't look quite like that, but they were still there, right? That's how the conscious works. So it only focuses on a small part, but the subconscious focuses on everything. It focuses on everything that comes into your line of sight, even if you're not consciously focused on it. It also focuses on everything you smell, everything you hear. So basically, a subconscious is recording everything. All the smells, all the sounds, all the sights. It's recording everything, right? But then you might be consciously, and this is where the communications come in. You might be consciously thinking about something. It goes into your subconscious. Your subconscious will communicate back to you. Or it might see some type of danger and it's communicating to you. Like if it might see something that you don't. Your subconscious got a mind of its own. It's still basically ultimately under the control of your mind, but it's picking up everything. It's seeing something that your conscious might not pick up on, right? Like, here's a good example. Say you have a dream about a house. And I'm going to get into this in some later podcasts on this. But say you have a dream about a house and you keep having the same dream about a certain type of house. Your subconscious, but the house is like falling apart or something, right? The house keeps falling apart. It keeps getting worse and worse. That could be your subconscious through a dream communicating to you. Dude, you need to go get some medical work done. This is falling apart. It's communicating stuff. It might see something about somebody. Okay, here's a good example. Right? Like I would have dreams, I actually would have particular dreams about how a woman would react or do something, and then it would do exactly what would happen. And I'm going to get into the predictive stuff in a bit. In the next few podcasts, one of the next podcasts, right? But, I'm just saying it happened, and I'm saying first time seeing it consciously, but my dreams, the subconscious already picked up to it. It would say, hey, bruh. You need to watch out for this one because it's going to see it. See, one thing about the subconscious, too, it sees the reality of stuff. It don't get caught up in, like, your fantasy. It just sees what's there. It sees exactly what's there, and it'll try to communicate to you through the dream what it's seeing, And I'm going to tell you the truth, there's actually some deeper stuff with that. I'm just getting on the surface with it. But that's what it is. So when you have those dreams, as best as possible, communicate them, even write them down. And I'm going to get into, podcast, maybe not the next one, but on Thursday about, why you should do that, really write it down. But they understand it's a communication. It's telling you something. It's letting you know something. It's letting you know the possibility of something. It could even be telling you some stuff you're doing wrong. It could tell you it could give you an insight into the inner being of someone. Because your subconscious reading another person perfectly. It's your conscious mind which has its own biases or, leanings or hopes and everything that doesn't read that person. But the subconscious is going to give you a dream like, hey, you need to watch this person. It's a lot of stuff. Or it can get into, your subconscious could be some memory or some trauma. It might try to be, give you a dream that's dealing with that, something that you need to pay attention to. So it's a very important thing. Dreams are major. And I'm just getting into it on really the mundane level. And like I said, because I respect people's different spiritual paths, I ain't going to get into the deeper aspects of dreams. So anyway, I want y'all to think on that, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.